Michael Jordan, all-time great player, creates a level of discipline and balance on the floor.
To me, he's the best player ever.
Wow!
Yeah.
You got Kobe over Mike?
That's just my favorite player.
You know, you could ask former players who are the greatest player in the history of the game. And in my personal opinion, it's Bill Russell.
LeBron James is the GOAT. Now I know this man is one of the top 3 players in the history of basketball.
The ongoing debate over who is the greatest of all time is one that we aim to silence. And of course, this topic still trends today to keep the past relevant and to judge those currently playing the game. How can we solve this problem, you ask? Well, a simple mathematical formula may hold the key to uncovering once and for all who is the GOAT. This is how the GOAT score looks. We take the total points scored over their career, add that to all their total rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, then divide that by the number of games played. Then we are going to multiply that with championships won over years played, and this formula will answer who is the greatest of all time. Because it is an individual award, teammates now have been eliminated. Or well, have they? We all know that teammates help you get the stats that you might not have had without them, but that's a different formula to add in. So we will look at the GOAT score of teammates to see how that factors in. We will also look at the key contributors on their team to see if their score is elevated with the help of a high-level GOAT score of their own. Stay with me. It's all about to add up, pun intended. Start with Michael Air Jordan and check his score out. So he had 32,292 points. We've added that to his 6,672 rebounds, 5,633 assists, 2,514 steals, and 893 blocks. That number will then be divided by 1,072, which is the number of games that he's played in his career. He won 6 championships in 15 seasons. So we calculate all this using that formula above, and we get a score of 3.170. Well, now let's look at his key players that helped him win those championships. Scottie Pippen's calculation by comparison is a 1.212, just to have a reference on Jordan's numbers, plus his seeing his sidekick in action. Dennis Rodman, who came in at the end of Jordan's career, pulls off a 1.622 score. So these two are the only ones higher than 1 point. The rest of Michael's teammates well below the mark. Next up, we'll compare the king himself, LeBron James. So we've added in his numbers. LeBron has a score of 0.791. So as you can see, a much lower score than Jordan's, but don't get too excited, Air Jordan fans. The king had no one he played with scoring in the 1 point plus range in his journey. Dwayne Wade from the Miami Heat was the highest duo for LeBron, who came in at 0.64. Still, at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. And for that reason, the Michael Jordan argument, in this case, gets the nod. There's still too many points down to make up for that kind of ground. But wait, what about Kobe, you ask? Yes, let's take a look at Kobe's numbers. 33,643 points, 7,047 rebounds, 6,306 assists, 1,944 steals, and 640 blocks. With 5 championships, that is most impressive. However, Kobe did this in 20 seasons. So if in comparison to Michael Jordan, that 5 extra seasons and 1 less championship lands Kobe with a .989 score. If you calculate that, Pippen and Rodman have a slight higher score. And if you don't trust the math, folks, take that up with ChatGPT. These 3 players are always the most discussed when talking about the GOAT. So out of those 3, with all the factors, Air Jordan gets the nod. But hold on, Jordan fans. Playing the numbers game isn't the thing that puts Michael on top. Let's look at some other players' scores before we can tell you who takes the cake. Larry Bird, 1.015. Magic Johnson, 1.568. So that puts an end to the who's better, Bird or Magic debate. Wilt Chamberlain, 0.876. Shaq, 0.851. Sorry, Shaq. Wilt's got the edge on you. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1.287. Hakeem Olajuwon, 1.356. John Havlicek of the Celtics, 2.512. So it's looking good for Team Jordan so far, but there's one person giving Jordan a run for his money. That would be the Admiral himself, David Robinson. He snuck in there with a 3.168, just 0.002 points behind Mike. That was a close. So there's only one player left we haven't talked about. Yep, you guessed it, Bill Russell. Looking at the numbers of Bill Russell, it will leave you knowing without a doubt, if this was the formula, then he is the greatest player of all time. So we took Bill Russell's numbers: 14,522 points, 21,620 rebounds, his assists, his steals, and his blocks. He only did it in 963 games. People will say he only played in 13 seasons. It's longevity that counts. Well, we would say because of the time period that he played in and the fact that he won 11 championships in just 13 years left him a little bored. What else did he need to accomplish? His score? 3.975. He is the only one to even come close to the 4-point scale. But you could then argue he had John Havlicek as a teammate, the highest scoring teammate of all the GOATs, coming in at 2.512. And the argument becomes, well, this is a team sport. And who elevated who? Did Havlicek elevate Russell, or did Russell elevate Havlicek? Those can then be carried on to more conversation, so we just stick to the numbers. And yes, this is a team sport. So therefore, yes, it's not like you could judge the GOAT of sprinting, and that's an easy one with Usain Bolt holding the world record with a 9.58 second 100-meter dash. No, there is no question of who the fastest individual is or the best gymnast. Those are all individual sports, and it's easy to judge who has the most gold medals or medal count or world record. Michael Phelps holds the most gold medals probably in any sport with 27. Mom and Dad, if you're looking for the most athletic name out there, almost sounds like Michael would be the name to choose if you ask me. Then what you're saying is there is no way to see who the best player of all time is on a team sport. Is it Bill Russell's fault for being born in a different era than LeBron or Michael? LeBron could be considered the best athlete of all time. But as we know, humans evolve, and this will constantly be challenged. Science and technology will advance athletes today more than years past. Therefore, the debate becomes one that will never end if you don't stick to a formula. Let's say you want to add in how many MVP trophies one has, or all-star teams they made. The problem then comes back to voting, and not by the numbers. The numbers don't lie, folks. There's so many intangibles you say. That is true, and this only solidifies the logic behind this whole debate of who is the greatest single player of all time. In the Bill Russell era, the postman rarely touched the ball anywhere but around the basket. The three-point line has added help to players' games to give him an edge. So this likely will change the scoring in the future, and who knows what else the rules will allow to help players have more points. For instance, how many times have you seen NBA players walk today that would have been called a travel back in the Bill Russell day? LeBron is a beneficiary of this, and which has helped add some points to his stat sheet that otherwise wouldn't have been there. As we look back into this formula of numbers, it's solid ground of Bill Russell as the GOAT, MJ second, and a surprising David Robinson third. And to all you Robert Horry fans, his 7 championships are impressive, but he didn't even crack the .5 mark. Being at the right place and the right time is always the key to success in life, and nobody tops that award more than Robert Horry. Let's hear your GOAT and who it is in the comments below. And hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, it's a mathematical formula. Do not get upset with us for just plugging in numbers to settle this debate once and for all.